Dallas is without question one of America's most impressive cities. With the appropriate nickname of Big D, Dallas is a Texas-sized city, and it also has some really interesting and surprising aspects that make it different than any other city in the country today. In this series, I quickly touch on a city's history, population, skyline, as well as a few things that make it unique. Now, let's meet Dallas. I always like to start by exploring how a city wound up being where it is today. Dallas is a relatively young city. The first settler was a lawyer from Tennessee named John Neely Bryan, who built a cabin near the Three Forks of the Trinity River in 1841. A town site was laid out 3 years later as more settlers started moving to the area. In the 1850s, French, Belgian, and Swiss immigrants formed a socialist utopian society near Dallas called La Reunion. The famous Reunion Tower landmark, which I'll talk more about later, takes its name from that community. The socialist utopia ended up failing, and those residents then essentially became part of Dallas. The turning point that led to Dallas ascending into the city that it is today happened in 1872 when the first steam railroad arrived at the city. Dallas became a major crossroads with intersecting rail lines, which led to Dallas becoming a major distributing point. With a population of over 38,000, Dallas became the largest city in Texas in 1890. Today, Dallas no longer holds the title of largest city in Texas. With a population of over 1.3 million, it trails Houston and San Antonio within the Lone Star State, making it the third largest city in the state and ninth largest in the country. It does, however, have the largest metro population in the state with over 7.6 million residents, making up a quarter of the state's population. The metro area shared with Fort Worth and several other cities is called the Metroplex and is the fourth largest in the entire country. Dallas is a strong financial and industrial center and is home to 9 Fortune 500 companies, including AT&T and Southwest Airlines. My favorite thing to evaluate about cities are their skylines, and Dallas has a stellar skyline. That's appropriate because the city has a strong history of having tall buildings. The 15-story, 190-foot Praetorian Building was the tallest building west of the Mississippi when it was built in 1909. And the Magnolia Building, which still stands today, was the tallest building south of Washington, D.C. when it was built in 1921. Today, the city has 19 completed skyscrapers, making it the 9th largest skyline in the country. And if you look at the average height of the tallest 5 buildings, it would have the 8th tallest skyline in the country. The tallest building in the city is the Bank of America Plaza at 921 feet. The edges and corners of the building are lit at night, giving the building and the skyline, for that matter, a unique look after dark. There are several things that make Dallas unique, but as a sports fan, I have to start with AT&T Stadium, or as it's often called, Jerry's World. This home of the Dallas Cowboys has a total capacity exceeding 100,000, making it the largest stadium in the NFL. The most iconic aspect of the massive stadium is the flat screen that stretches 162 feet from end to end across the football field. The stadium is located between Dallas and Fort Worth. One of the most recognizable landmarks of the city is the Reunion Tower. Sometimes referred to as the Ball, this tower stands 561 feet tall, giving it a comparable height to the Space Needle in Seattle. The Reunion Tower has a restaurant as well as an observation deck at the top and is lit with 259 lights at night. About 1,000 feet from the Reunion Tower is where the tragic assassination of JFK took place. Today in the JFK Memorial Plaza, there is a massive memorial which symbolizes an open tomb. One of the things about Dallas that surprised me is that it's home to the largest urban arts district in the country. The 68-acre district, which spans 19 continuous blocks, is home to several art museums, theaters, opera houses, and more. Every year in Dallas, Texas's largest cowboy, Big Tex, welcomes people to the Texas State Fair. The State Fair is considered to be the largest in the country, although I believe daily attendance at the Minnesota State Fair actually exceeds that of Texas. In downtown Dallas, there's a giant 30-foot tall eyeball. This peculiar piece of art sits at the spot of the city's first tall building, the Praetorian Building, which I'd mentioned earlier in the video. And lastly, I love old buildings, and the red Dallas County Courthouse is an incredible looking building in my opinion. It looks like a castle with its 8 circular turrets, and there's a local history museum within it now. Well, that does it for my overview video of Dallas. If you enjoyed the video, check out some of my other videos about cities. Thanks for watching.